With One Piece rapidly approaching its climax, we'll be discussing Yonko Buggy's Devil Fruit in this video. Within the online community, there's been some talk that the cover of Volume 25 shows to the members of the Yonko. It's speculated that Yonko Buggy also is a godly Devil Fruit user. Through our thorough investigation in this video, one interesting theory has emerged. This theory is related to the surprising relationship between our beloved antagonist Buggy and the god of the forest, Faunus. Hello! Welcome back to One Piece Fanatics! In today's video, we'll be exploring in detail whether the devil fruit eaten by Buggy is the mythical Zoan type Hito no Mi model Mori no Kami Faunus. Please note that this video will contain One Piece spoilers up to chapter 1053. For those who haven't read up to chapter 1053, please exit the video now. You've been warned. With that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Yonko Buggy. Just before Oda Sensei took a break, chapter 1053 revealed that Buggy became one of the 4 emperors. We are sure that we weren't the only ones shocked by this twist. Before we get into that, let's talk about Buggy. Buggy has blue hair and a big round red nose. But don't you dare mention it to him, or you'll have to face the consequences. He appears to have clown-like makeup, which complements his name, Buggy the Clown. So, what about his personality? Buggy is definitely a little bit of a fraudster. Buggy cleverly led prisoners during the Impel Down jailbreak while successfully welcoming highly wanted individuals onto his crew. Additionally, we could say that his title as a Yonko is likely due to the strength and charisma of his pirate crew, rather than his own strength alone. Back to Buggy's Devil Fruit. His Paramecia-type Devil Fruit, Bara Bara no Mi, allows him to freely disassemble his body, letting his body parts fly all over the place and dodge attacks made towards him. He's a Bara Bara Ningen, also known as a splitting human. Prior to the time skip, there was no portrayal of Buggy using Haki. However, since he's become a Yonko, it's possible that within these 2 years, he has acquired Haki. Buggy's fruit, the Bara Bara no Mi. So in this video, we really wanted to look into the awakening of Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi. Whether or not Buggy's Devil Fruit has awakened has been a hot topic within the online community, and we would like to discuss this in depth in this video. We'll explore why we believe Buggy's Devil Fruit has not yet awakened. There are 2 reasons actually to support this idea. The first reason is the similarities between Ope Ope no Mi and Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi. It's very rare, but some powers can awaken and affect objects aside from the wielder. As Doflamingo said in chapter 785, when a devil fruit awakens, it increases the abilities of its user, affecting their surroundings. Doflamingo can turn his surroundings into threads, Luffy into rubber, and Katakuri into mochi. Following this rule, the same should occur if the Bara Bara no Mi is awakened. It should lead to the ability of disassembling and splitting buildings, trees, rocks, and other natural objects, and even humans surrounding Buggy into pieces. However, a devil fruit with these exact abilities already exists. This devil fruit is the Ope Ope no Mi. The Ope Ope no Mi allows its user to manipulate and remodel the world around them, as if they're operating on it, by generating a blue transparent dome-shaped force field called Room that is centered around the user. These abilities are similar to that of the Bara Bara no Mi. Of course, there are some differences, such as the abilities being limited to the space under the dome-shaped room, and the ability to perform the perennial youth operation, or immortality operation. Aside from this, the 2 have very similar abilities, and makes no sense if the awakened abilities of the Bara Bara no Mi are so similar to an existing devil fruit. The second reason why we think the Bara Bara no Mi has not yet awakened is because Buggy's mental and physical levels are so low.
Awakening is what happens when your mind and body catch up to your powers.
In chapter 1046, Kaido tells Luffy that awakening a devil fruit requires the mind and body to catch up with the user's abilities. Although Luffy was able to awaken his devil fruit afterwards, he was defeated by Kaido in Kuri, which was followed by him learning the advanced Haki technique Ryo. And he was again defeated by Kaido on the roof of Onigashima, where he learned to coat his body in Conqueror's Haki. With that event, he was miraculously saved by the Heart Pirates, returning to the roof of Onigashima with Momonosuke, using Gear 4 to launch a final attack on Kaido. However, due to the intervention of CP0, it led to his momentarily death, a 3rd defeat. In this way, we think that by fighting against Kaido 3 times, Luffy's mind and body caught up to his abilities, allowing him to awaken his Hito no Mi mythical Zoan type model, Nika. So, what about Buggy?
Oh no! He's got his eye on me now! I'm doomed! It's all over! I have to run!
Buggy is known to be a bit of a coward when it comes to battles. For example, in chapter 559, during the Summit War, Buggy plans to run away from Whitebeard, and in chapter 956, when the 7 warlords of the seas are disbanded, he plans to escape from the Marines using his own crew as a distraction.
We're gonna fight like hell! That's what we'll do! Now go and show him what we're made of! And in the meantime, I'm gonna skedaddle!
Even in the Levely arc, when the 7 warlords of the sea was abolished, Buggy escaped, leaving his crew members to the Marines. Considering Buggy's character and his tendencies, he did not become Yonko due to his own power and success alone, but because of his highly capable crew.
Awakening is what happens when your mind and body catch up to your powers.
Based on this, the chances that Buggy's mind and body progress enough is extremely low, especially when comparing him to Luffy. Of course, this means that his mind and body have not caught up to his Bara Bara no Mi. So, because of the similarities between the Bara Bara no Mi and the Opi Opi no Mi, combined with the lack of progression of Buggy's mind and body, we can conclude the possibility that the Bara Bara no Mi has not yet awakened is very high. The Godly Devil Fruit Users. Up to this point, we have covered how Yonko Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi has not yet awakened. Next, we'll dive into why Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi may actually be like Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Mi, a godly devil fruit. There are 2 reasons why the Bara Bara no Mi could be a godly devil fruit. Let's look at our first reasoning, which is the cover of Volume 25. Many of you may be familiar with the viral Volume 25 cover. The cover displays 4 One Piece characters, Shanks, Luffy, Blackbeard, and Buggy, and guess what they have in common? They're the 4 emperors. Many fans speculated that Volume 25's cover was foreshadowing the new emperors all along. Have you noticed the goat that also features on Volume 25's cover? If you look closer, there's a goat on the cover appearing to eat paper. The word for paper in Japanese is kami, which has the same pronunciation as God in Japanese. In other words, it can be interpreted that a goat is eating God. Speaking of eating, this reminds us of devil fruits. And if you look at the cover of Volume 25, the only people with open mouths are Luffy, Blackbeard, and Buggy, not Shanks. It can be interpreted that Luffy, Blackbeard, and Buggy are eating gods. And when it comes to gods, we immediately think of the 4 gods mentioned in chapter 287. At the sacrificial altar of Jaya, god of the sun, god of the rain, god of the forest, god of the earth. We already know that Nika is the god of the sun and the model of the devil fruit Luffy ate. So, metaphorically speaking, when Luffy, Blackbeard, and Buggy eat God, it could be a reference to eating the godly devil fruits. In other words, the Volume 25 cover suggests that these 3 characters have consumed godly devil fruits. We've also analyzed in another video that because Luffy is the god of the sun, perhaps Blackbeard is the god of the earth. There are 2 reasons that support this claim. The first reason is the relationship between Blackbeard and the god of the earth. Firstly, Blackbeard and Luffy are shown to have a very contrasting relationship whenever they appear in the story. So while Nika, the god Luffy ate, represents freedom, Blackbeard is thought to have eaten a god who governs the opposite of freedom. The opposite of this freedom is chaos. It's obvious One Piece pays homage to Greek mythology. Just take a look at the naming of the ancient weapons. But if there's a god of chaos in One Piece, surely this would directly contrast with the sun god Nika. The god of chaos does not appear in the One Piece story at the moment, and there's nothing that can be directly interpreted as foreshadowing. We'll take this moment to briefly explain the god of chaos in Greek mythology, and the being which is similar to chaos. In Greek mythology, chaos is often referred to as the first god and is the ancestor of all gods and heroes. However, there are some books in which chaos is not mentioned as the primordial god in Greek mythology. In that case, the being which fulfills the role of chaos is Gaia. Gaia meaning earth in Greek. This reminds us of the god of the earth that was foreshadowed in chapter 287. Here, the existence of Blackbeard and the god of the earth are finally connected. The second reason is that the Gura Gura no Mi is an ability which affects the earth. Blackbeard, who stole the Gura Gura no Mi from Whitebeard during the Marineford War, gained the ability to generate and control earthquakes at will. Because of Blackbeard's great power and influence over the earth, he could be considered the god of the earth. There are other reasons to support this idea, but the first is the relationship between Blackbeard and Gaia. The second is the Gura Gura no Mi's ability to control the earth. For the above two reasons, we have theorized that the devil fruit that Blackbeard ate was the mythical Zoan-type Hito Hito no Mi model Earth God Gaia. And so Luffy had Sun God Nika and Blackbeard had Earth God Gaia. This leaves two god types for Buggy: Forest God and Rain God. Now, let's move on to the second reason why Buggy's devil fruit may be a godly devil fruit. For this, we'll be comparing the Gomu Gomu no Mi and Bara Bara no Mi. Among the most famous devil fruits in One Piece are the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Bara Bara no Mi. There are actually many commonalities as well as contrasts between these two devil fruits. The first similarity is the scenes showing each devil fruit being eaten. These scenes are composed in a very similar manner. We see Buggy in chapter 19 in his apprentice days with the Roger Pirates. Buggy had no intention to eat the Bara Bara no Mi as he wanted to keep the devil fruit for its monetary value. However, Buggy ends up accidentally eating the Bara Bara no Mi after Shanks appears out of nowhere. And in an effort to hide the devil fruit, he ends up eating it, making Buggy a devil fruit user. Now, in the first chapter, Luffy gains the Gomu Gomu no Mi ability. Luffy innocently eats the devil fruit by mistake. Both Luffy and Buggy became devil fruit users unexpectedly and somewhat unwillingly. To add on, many other details of the scenes where Buggy and Luffy eat the devil fruits are weirdly similar. As we said before, they both unintentionally consumed the devil fruits. Both the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Bara Bara no Mi were stolen from enemy ships. And both Luffy and Buggy considered losing their ability to swim a major disadvantage. And finally, Shanks was present in both instances. In that sense, the two scenarios are actually very similar. Also, another common point is that the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Bara Bara no Mi appear at a similar point in the story. The Gomu Gomu no Mi is the first devil fruit to appear in the story. The Bara Bara no Mi is introduced closely after the Gomu Gomu no Mi. We could even say both of these devil fruits are introduced around the same time. Now, what about the differences? When we look at the abilities that these two devil fruits grant their users, they're almost completely opposites. The Gomu Gomu no Mi allows the user to freely move and stretch the body like a piece of rubber, and is very strong against blunt attacks. On the other hand, the Bara Bara no Mi gives its user the ability to separate their body into pieces, making slashing attacks harmless. While they have many things in common, their properties are quite different. In other words, if the Gomu Gomu no Mi is the devil fruit that possesses the name of Sun God Nika, then the contrasting Bara Bara no Mi should also be a devil fruit possessing the name of a contrasting god. Let's summarize the cover of Volume 25 and the commonalities of Luffy and Buggy eating their devil fruit, and contrasting abilities of the Gomu Gomu no Mi and Bara Bara no Mi based on the above reasoning. It seems highly likely that Buggy also ate a devil fruit which bears the name of God, just like Luffy and Blackbeard. The Forest God Faunus. So far, we have considered Buggy has eaten a devil fruit possessing the name of a god, but what kind of devil fruit has Buggy consumed specifically? From our conclusion, we think it may be the mythical Zoan-type Hito Hito no Mi model, Forest God Faunus. Let us explain the 5 reasons as to why we think this. The first reason is based on a tale where Faunus broke apart into pieces, just like the abilities of the Bara Bara no Mi. Faunus is the name of a god in Roman mythology. In Greek mythology, he is known as Pan. Much like Faunus, Pan has a similar story. Pan falls in love with a spirit named Echo. Echo was a spirit who was very talented at singing and dancing. Unfortunately, Echo ends up rejecting Pan. Of course, this angers Pan greatly. The egotistical Pan orders the goat herders under his control to dismember Echo into pieces as revenge for being dumped. And as we think of dismembered into pieces, it reminds us of Buggy in the One Piece story. In other words, Buggy's Bara Bara no Mi may be referencing the story of Faunus or Pan dismembering the person they loved. Another notable reasoning is that Faunus is a goat. In ancient Rome, he's the god of shepherds and livestock. Due to this imagery associated with farming, Faunus is represented as having the horns and legs of a goat. This reminds us of the goat featured in the center of Volume 25's cover page. What if the goat on the cover page of Volume 25 was hinting at the mythical Zoan type Hito Hito no Mi model forest god Faunus? Let's move on to our third reason, which is that Faunus has a gift for prophesying. Faunus is said to have inherited the power of prophecy from his father Picus, and is also known for his prophecy. Similarly, Buggy is also good at prophecies and predicting the future.
I'd become one of the 4 emperors, and then I'll soon be king of the pirates!
Chapter 549, Buggy, who set sail from Impel Down, dreamed of becoming a Yonko, or the Pirate King, and decided to go to the Navy headquarters. And in Chapter 1053, Buggy became one of the Yonko as he dreamt he would. In this way, the fact that Faunus has an aptitude for prophecy may imply that Buggy was making a prediction that he will become a Yonko. The fourth point is that Faunus is the god of the forest. The existence of the god of the sun, the god of rain, the god of the forest, and the god of the earth was suggested in the scene where sacrifices were offered to Kashigami in chapter 287. Afterwards, in the Wano arc, sun god Nika appeared, where we also found that Luffy ate the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. Adding on from this, we think it's highly likely that the godly devil fruit which will appear in the future will either be the rain god or the forest god. In this case, if Faunus is the model of the Hito Hito no Mi that Buggy ate, it will also be known as the forest god. In One Piece, there are many examples of homages to Greek mythology, such as the ancient weapons Pluton, Uranus, and Poseidon. In this ancient Greek and Roman mythology, there is actually only one god who has the nickname of the god of the forest. This is the god Faunus. We encourage you to also look onto the internet. However, from our research, it does not appear that there's another forest god except Faunus. This fact makes the chances of Buggy's mythical Zoan type, the Hito Hito no Mi model forest god Faunus, much more likely. And the fifth reason is the most crucial one. Faunus is the guardian of treasure. There are many stories about Faunus, and Faunus actually means guardian of treasure. When we think of treasure within the One Piece series, the first character who comes to mind is Buggy.
Soon I shall rule the Grand Line, and all the glittering treasures will be mine! All the treasures in the world! I'll have it all, nobody else!
As Buggy said in Chapter 15, Buggy's dream is to collect and obtain all the treasure from all around the world. In other words, Buggy's desire to collect treasure may be hinting towards Faunus, the guardian of treasure. Let's quickly recap. There are myths about Faunus disassembling or dismembering Echo. Faunus could be the goat on Volume 25's cover page. Both Buggy and Faunus are known for their ability of prophecy. Faunus is the god of the forest, and Faunus is the guardian of treasure. And that's the 5 reasons why we believe Buggy's devil fruit is actually the mythical Zoan type Hito Hito no Mi model forest god Faunus. What about Chopper? We actually made another video discussing about Chopper's devil fruit and the possibility of it being the mythical Zoan type Hito Hito no Mi model forest god. In that video, we based the analysis on the connection between the forest, wisdom, and healing, the aging side effects, and the titles of some of the chapters in the series. And that would be the brief summary of the 3 reasons covered in the Chopper video. We can't say which theory is correct at this stage, but after comparing the 2 theories and analysis, we can say that there's a stronger argument for Buggy's forest god theory than Chopper's forest god theory, and this tends to be people's conclusions within the fandom. At this stage, we can only just look forward to future developments. We have approached the end of the video analysis of Buggy and his godly devil fruit. What do y'all think? If you have any other theories that we didn't cover this time, please leave them in the comments below. If you'd like to see more One Piece content like this, please subscribe. That's all for this video. See you again in the next one.